Welcome to today's matchup, Windows versus SteamOS. Asus is one of the biggest names in PC gaming, and they are finally about to throw their hat into the handheld gaming ring with their ROG Ally. The Steam Deck has been a juggernaut in the space for the past year, thanks to Valve's market innovation, performance, and value. But a glaring battle is about to arise, and it's time to pick a side. Are you on Team Windows, or are you on the SteamOS squad? I'm your host, Herc. Let's get this party started.
First off, sorry for the lack of videos lately. I've been juggling a lot on my plate, but this data's just been sitting there and this conflict is finally starting to boil over. With the announcement of the ROG Ally and the upcoming pricing reveal, many fanboys on both sides are starting to lash out. On the one hand, Steam Deckers are eager to point out SteamOS's improvements in the handheld gaming space. On the other, Windows fanboys clamor over their operating system's superior compatibility. But which side is right? Or better stated, which OS is really the best when it comes to a gaming handheld? Over the past several months, we've covered this topic from several different angles here on the channel. Both OSs provide their pros and cons, so today we will test both environments head to head. My test platform today is the mighty Steam Deck. Rocking Valve's custom Aerith APU, it powers 4 CPU cores and 8 GPU compute units at a minuscule 15 watts for its thermal design point, or TDP. Both operating systems are running with their default configurations at 800p resolution. I've got 20 games up my sleeve, and I'll be running each game at almost optimized settings across the board. This testing took a whole lot of time and effort to get done, so hit that subscribe button and share this video to support the channel. I've only got a few charts for you today, but they paint a pretty obvious story. Let's look at the percentage comparisons between the Steam Deck's native experience versus the blasphemous Windows 11. In 7 of the 20 games tested, SteamOS comes out ahead of Windows 11, which I find pretty interesting. Control is a critically acclaimed DX12 game, but it runs 8.7% faster on SteamOS. For those wanting to hop onto the latest next-gen patch for Witcher 3, it will perform better within SteamOS. And by the numbers alone, God of War and Cyberpunk 2077 favor the Proton translation layer more than the native Windows operating system. On the other hand, 3 of the 20 games perform notably worse in SteamOS. Horizon Zero Dawn has been a struggle bus for the deck, and sure enough, it performs better within Windows. Of course, Halo Infinite is a quintessential Xbox game, so it makes sense that it performs better on Windows. Nevertheless, half of the games tested today fall between 5% of either operating system, which typically can be considered a tie by most benchmarking standards. But these sort of percentages skew the overall messaging of the results. Let's chew on the numbers a different way. Looking at the raw frame rate numbers, in most cases, SteamOS provides a better frame rate result than Windows 11. With Returnal, Elden Ring, Forza Horizon 5, Doom Eternal, Warframe, and F1 2020, either operating system is within a single frame of the other, which is for all intents and purposes, a tie. In Hogwarts Legacy, Witcher 3, Spider-Man, Valheim, Crysis Remastered, and Apex Legends, SteamOS wins by a few frames, which may or may not be detectable by the typical gamer. On the other hand, Horizon Zero Dawn, Halo Infinite, and Grand Theft Auto 5 favor Windows 11 by a similar margin. Valve does bring the heat though in God of War, Cyberpunk, Borderlands 3, Control, and Counter-Strike, with sizable bumps favoring games run on SteamOS. However, if we take a look at the popular gaming thresholds of 30 FPS, 40, and 60 FPS, neither operating system is superior from an average FPS perspective. I like to use these thresholds because they kind of identify those optimization points for a handheld device. As for 1% lows, things do get messy, with 6 games showing better results within Windows and 8 favoring SteamOS. But it does look like SteamOS shows more significant gaps in 1% lows compared to Windows, so cryo-utils may or may not help you out in that regard. Having looked at the data from a performance perspective, either operating system will effectively present the same gaming experience in a handheld device. SteamOS appears to perform a bit better, but that improvement is marginal at best. And as we saw with cryoutils in a previous video, tweaking the OS for either Linux or Windows will only improve the performance in their respective ways. Ultimately, it boils down to how you want to use your handheld. Do you want to run your device with the default experience that Plagman, Lawrence, and Lord Gaben have prescribed? Then stick with Valve's SteamOS. It provides a much more integrated experience from installation to execution. Sure, getting things like Battle.net, Ubisoft, and other game launchers takes a bit more work, but plenty of information is out there to help you get that going. And if you're interested in emulation, tools like EmuDeck and other community solutions are available with plenty of documentation. But keep in mind, Valve's devs have been known to break Proton from time to time, so the experience isn't as flawless as many prescribe on the internet.com. Having said all that, for most people, SteamOS might be enough. But if you are looking at that ROG Ally with the Windows operating system, there are some added benefits. Suppose you want to use Game Pass, play games with extensive anti-cheat software, or just run a broader spectrum of software. In that case, Windows is now a completely viable option for the deck and other handhelds. To name some games off the top of my head, you got Battlefield, Call of Duty, native support for Genshin Impact, and take your pick. Now for the haters out there saying, oh, the Windows interface sucks, or, but I don't have performance monitoring tools at my fingertips. There are ways around that. If you're going to be gaming primarily with Steam, I would definitely opt into the Steam Client Beta software and add the -gamepad UI argument in order to get the launcher that is effectively the same interface that the Steam Deck has. If you're looking for performance monitoring tools and TDP controls, there are plenty of third-party tools out there to get you going. I can think of MSI Afterburner, Hardware Info, Riva Statistics Tuner, just to name a few. Out of the box, these tools are far from being as integrated as the SteamOS solution, but with a bit of fiddling, they can look nearly identical to Valve's implementation. As for interfaces beyond Steam, there still needs to be a good all-in-one launcher, though there are some in development. Fortunately, each of these Windows handhelds does implement its own launcher, and they do provide software support for it, but they could be a bit better. Most devices do provide a dedicated on-screen keyboard button, and the default Windows keyboard is pretty good, but I have heard murmurs that Microsoft is working on a handheld UI that could help grow this PC handheld space dramatically. But for the love of all that is holy, Microsoft, please don't let it look like Windows 8. And as much as people love the community support for SteamOS and Linux, there is also a vast community of support for Windows. Take, for instance, customized TDP controls, the WinDeck experience. There are plenty of community-driven tools that are in active development, so check out some of those videos on the channel and give them a look. At the end of the day, both operating systems perform well on a handheld, and both require developer support to keep them running. It's time to stop stigmatizing a gamer's OS selection and offer them your support. Because, come on guys, we're all members of the PC master race. Don't become a console pleb and devolve into the console wars.